Henry, Ribsy, and the two girls struggled into the mob on the driveway. Sometimes they moved ahead a foot, sometimes an inch, but most of the time they stood still. It seemed to Henry that a lot of awfully big people stepped on his toes. The children could barely hear the auctioneer above the noise of the crowd. "What am I bid for bicycle number 7?" the man was shouting. Henry jumped as high as he could to see the bicycle. "Quit jumping on my toes," said the boy behind him. Ribsy yelped. "You keep off my dog's tail," Henry said to another boy. He wondered how much he dared to bid. Should he start with 50 cents, or should he bid $4.04 all at once and hope no one else had that much money? "I'm hungry," yelled Ramona. Beezus rummaged in the box of animal crackers. "Here's an elephant," she offered. "You've eaten all the lions and camels." "No!" screamed Ramona. "I don't like elephants." Well, most people don't like Republicans either. Henry was disgusted. "Don't be dumb," he said, wondering if Ramona would ever give him a chance to bid. "All animal crackers taste alike." "I don't like elephants," Ramona screamed again, looking as if she were going to cry. "Oh, all right." Beezus pawed through the box again. "Here's a monkey." To Henry's relief, Ramona ate the monkey. It seemed as if everyone were waving his hand and shouting a number at the auctioneer. $2, yelled the boy behind Henry. 10 cents, shouted someone in front of him. A penny, screamed a little girl. $1,000,000, sang out Scooter, who was still on the fence. 2,000,000, bid another. Quiet, everybody, roared the auctioneer, mopping his face with his handkerchief. I've been in this business 20 years, and I've never seen anything like this. We have 50 items to sell, and we don't want to take all day. We don't have time for any funny business. Now, how much am I bid for this bicycle? $1 from the boy on the fence. $1.25. $1.50. Oh, $2 from the boy in the red sweater. $5. $5 once. $5 twice. $6. Only 50 items. When the paper had said 100, it seemed to Henry that his chance of getting a bicycle was growing smaller by the minute. $1,000,000, yelled Scooter again. The auctioneer glared at him and continued. $6 once, $6 twice. Bicycle number 7 sold to the boy in the green sweater for $6. Ah, wasn't any good anyway, Henry heard someone say. It only had one wheel. $6 for a bike with one wheel? I wonder how much a bike with 2 wheels is going to cost, Henry said to Beezus. Maybe the people with the most money will all get bicycles and go home. Then the kids who haven't much will have a chance, suggested Beezus. I guess I'll stick around and see, said Henry. The next item the auctioneer held up was a tailor tot. Henry was disgusted. The paper hadn't said anything about tailor tots. Stop fussing, Ramona, said Beezus. I know you can't see anything, but pretty soon Henry will get a bike and we can go home. Ramona began to pound Ribsy's back with her fist. The dog looked around for a way to escape, but there were too many people. Cut it out, Ramona, ordered Henry. Then a strange woman standing behind Henry spoke. No, no, little girl, mustn't hit the doggy. Love the doggy. Ramona stared at the woman. Then she threw both arms around Ribsy's neck and squeezed as hard as she could. Ribsy struggled. Hey, you're choking him, objected Henry, as Beezus pried her little sister loose from the dog. I want to go home, said Ramona. After a while, answered Beezus crossly. Henry saw that he had better start bidding on a bike. Next, a bicycle was sold to a boy who bellowed, $7.64. A battered tricycle went for $1. Another bicycle sold for $5 to a boy who got his friends to yell with him so he could be heard above the crowd. The boy behind Beezus had bid $7, but the auctioneer didn't hear. Henry saw that, with so many people shouting and waving their hands and the auctioneer trying to sell the bicycles as fast as he could, it was more important for a boy to make himself heard above the crowd than to have a lot of money to spend. If only there was some way he could make the auctioneer hear him. Henry jumped as high as he could for a glimpse of the next bicycle. The handlebars were missing, but he was sure that if he got it, he could find a pair of old handlebars somewhere. $1, he yelled at the top of his voice. His words were lost in a chorus of bids. I'll help you yell, said Beezus. $2, they shouted together. The auctioneer did not hear them. Just then there was a lull in the noise of the crowd, and Ramona's voice rang out. I'm going to throw up, she announced. Instantly, everyone standing near her managed to move a few inches away. Ribsy used the extra space to sit down and scratch. Beezus, don't just stand there, do something. Henry was thoroughly alarmed. Leave it to Ramona to get sick just when he had figured out the way the auction worked. Beezus calmly handed Ramona another animal cracker. Oh, don't pay any attention to her, she said. The lady behind Henry tapped Beezus on the shoulder and asked, Don't you think you had better take your little sister home? She's all right. She just says that when she wants to get her own way, Beezus explained. Come on, Henry. I hope you yell again. I'm going to throw up, screamed Ramona. Henry was relieved that Ramona was really all right, even if he had missed another chance to bid. The lady was not so sure. Again she tapped Beezus on the shoulder. "I think you'd better take your sister home. Maybe she isn't feeling well." Ramona beamed. Beezus and Henry exchanged unhappy looks. It looked as if Ramona was going to get her own way. She usually did. "Come with me," said the lady firmly. "I'll help you through the crowd." "Honestly, she's all right," protested Beezus. "She's just saying that." "She's okay," agreed Henry. "Beezus knows. There must be some way to keep Ramona from getting her own way." The lady did not seem to hear. "Take my hand, little girl," she said, as if she meant to be obeyed. "Come on, children." The people who were standing near them were still eyeing Ramona uneasily, and were glad to make a path to let them through. Why couldn't the lady leave them alone? Henry didn't see how he could bear to move away from the auctioneer when it had been such hard work to get through the crowd. For a minute he thought he wouldn't leave. If he let Beezus and Ramona go alone, maybe he would get a chance to bid. Still, his mother said he had to take Beezus with him, so maybe they'd better stay together. He didn't want to catch it when he got home. "Will you let us through, please? This little girl isn't feeling well," the lady repeated. The crowd, pleased to see that someone was leaving, let them through. Henry begrudged every step he took away from the auctioneer. At last they reached the sidewalk. "There you are," said the lady cheerfully. "Run along now and tell your mother she had better put your little sister to bed." Then she turned and made her way back into the crowd. There they were, all right. Disgusted, Henry turned on Ramona. "Now see what you've done. How am I going to bid on a bike when we can't even hear the auctioneer way out here?" "I want to go home," said Ramona. "Don't you want Henry to get a bicycle?" asked Beezus. "No," said Ramona. Beezus grabbed her little sister by the hand. "Ramona Geraldine Quimby," she snapped, "you're coming with us, and you're going to behave yourself." "Yes," agreed Henry. "I'm pretty tired of being pushed around by a little kid." Beezus glared at her sister. "And if you don't behave, I'll tell Mother about the time you waited until she went to the store and then tried to give the cat a bath in the Bendix. Then you'll be sorry." Ramona sulked, but she didn't say anything. Wearily, the children struggled into the crowd. Ribsy's tail drooped. Henry was so hot and tired he felt it was pretty useless to go back at all. Ramona would probably think of something else anyway. By staying on the edge of the driveway and squeezing along the edge of the police station, they moved slowly ahead. At last they were able to hear the auctioneer again. Henry was afraid there were so many tall people in front of them that they couldn't be seen, even if they could make themselves heard. Beezus and Henry yelled experimentally a couple of times, but they really didn't expect to be heard. "I wish Robert and Scooter were here," said Henry. "Maybe if we all yelled together he would hear us." "They're on the other side of the driveway," said Beezus. "We could never get through." Then, looking frantically around, she gasped, "Ramona! Where's Ramona? I can't find her." "Maybe she went home." Henry looked around, but it was impossible to see more than a few feet in any direction. "She was down here with Ribsy a minute ago." Beezus looked frightened. "Henry, what will Mother say if I've lost her for keeps?" "She must be around someplace. She couldn't go far in this crowd." Henry was disgusted. First it was a parking ticket on a dog because Ramona was hungry. Then because of her they were taken out of the crowd, and now she had to wander off when he was trying to bid on a bike. That's what happened when he tried to go someplace with a couple of girls. Nevertheless, he looked around for Beezus' little sister while the bidding continued. "Where can she be?" Beezus was frantic. "Maybe she's kidnapped." Jeepers, thought Henry. He had enough troubles without all this. He knew Ramona couldn't be far away, and he was sure no one would ever kidnap her, especially not if they knew her. Now all he had to do was find her before the auction ended. "If we went up in front, we could ask the auctioneer to ask about her," suggested Henry. He didn't mention that his chances of bidding would also be better. "Have you seen my little sister?" Beezus asked the people around her. Henry inquired if anyone had seen a little girl in a blue dress, but no one had noticed her. "What are we going to do, Henry?" asked Beezus, blinking her eyes to keep back the tears. "I can't go home without her. I've got to find her. I've got to." Then the auctioneer pounded his gavel and roared, "Quiet, everybody!" The crowd was almost silent. "Has someone lost a little girl?" He held Ramona up for everyone to see. Her face was streaked with tears, and she clutched her slug in one hand. $1, yelled Scooter. "Quiet!" shouted the auctioneer. "It's Ramona!" Beezus cried out. "That's my little sister!" "Will you come up and get your sister?" asked the auctioneer. "Make way for the little lady to come to her sister." "Hey," thought Henry, "here's my chance. I'll go with her and get up in front where the auctioneer can see me, and then maybe he can hear me bid." The people in front moved aside to let Beezus through. Henry started after her. "Where do you think you're going?" the big boy in front of Henry demanded. "With her," said Henry. "You're not going to get ahead of me," said another boy. By that time, the path the crowd had made for Beezus closed up again. Henry couldn't let his one chance at a bicycle get away from him. "Beezus," he called out desperately, "if you see a good bike, bid for me. $4, 4 cents." Okay, Beezus answered through the crowd. The auction continued. In spite of other people's toes, Henry jumped as high as he could each time a bicycle was held up. If Beezus could make the auctioneer hear, it might be his. 2 bicycles went by. Henry grew more and more uneasy, waiting to hear a shout of $4.04. Beezus must be in the very front row. Why didn't she bid? What had gone wrong? Then the auctioneer's voice rang out. Sold for $4.04. Bicycle number 32, sold to the little lady who lost her sister. Beezus had bid. Joyfully, Henry sprang into the air to see his bike. He couldn't see a thing, but that was all right. There was a bicycle waiting for him, a bike of his very own. After that, Henry lost interest in the auction. He was busy wondering what his bicycle would look like. He hoped it was red and had a horn and a light. Gradually, the crowd began to leave, and Henry and his dog were able to work their way up to the front, where Beezus and Ramona were waiting. Beezus, who was holding a place in the line of people paying for bicycles, looked pleased and excited. Henry, I got you a real good one with wheels and handlebars and everything. It's in that pile. I had the man write your name on the tag. Henry took his place in line and was trying to guess which bicycle in the heap was his when Robert and Scooter joined him. Did you find out about the ticket? Asked Robert. Sure, and I got a bike too, boasted Henry. Yeah? Scooter plainly did not believe him. Yes, and I'm not going to jail or anything either. Then Henry explained about the policeman and the ticket. I bet the bike isn't any good, remarked Scooter. It is too a good bike, Beezus contradicted. It has 2 wheels and everything. Of course it isn't exactly new, but it's a good bike just the same. You wait and see. Sure, it's a good bike if Beezus says so, Henry bragged. You just wait until I ride it in the Rose Festival parade. Gradually, the line moved forward. Number 32, said Henry, when his turn came. At last, he nearly had his hands on his very own bike. He had had to run along the sidewalk beside Scooter on the way to the auction, but he was going to ride his own bike home. He counted out the $4.04. There'll be something wrong with it. You just wait and see, said Scooter. There will not, said Beezus. At least not anything important. The officer finally untangled Henry's bicycle from the rest of the pile. Scooter and Robert began to howl with laughter. Henry groaned. What could you expect when you went to an auction with a girl? The bicycle had 2 wheels and handlebars all right, but there was something else wrong with it. It was a girl's bicycle.